Okay.
Very good. At this point in time, I'd like to call the meeting of the Pima County Board of Adjustment, District 1, meeting of February 7th, 2022. I have on my desk a small flag, and I'd like to say the Pledge of Allegiance at this time. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. I understand at this point in time we have Kelly Meslin is no longer on the board and she has been replaced. But that person, Michael Rustat, is not in the meeting today. But would the recording secretary please read the roll call?
Yes. Mr. Green?
Present.
Michael Rustat is absent. Ms. Valentine?
Present.
Mr. Call?
Present.
And Chair Wildblood?
Present.
Mr. Chair, let the record show that we have a quorum and that Mr. Rusat is absent.
Very good. Thank you. Would the secretary read the first case? And I understand there might be a little change on this.
Yes. P21VA00020, Miller, North Tortolita Estates Drive. They've actually requested a third and last continuance to the March 7th meeting for their case.
Okay.
Can I ask a quick question just for my education? Is it that they are only allowed 3 continuance requests? Is that the rule?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
We have to vote to approve this continuance. So I would ask that a motion be made to approve the continuance from one of the board members, please.
So moved.
It's been moved.
Second.
Moved
Seconded.
and seconded. All right. Can I have a roll call vote on this, please?
Yes. Mr. Green?
Approve.
Miss Valentine?
Approve.
Mr. Call?
Approve the continuance.
Chair Wildblood?
Approve the continuance.
The motion to approve the continuance has passed 4-0.
All right. May I have the reading of the next case, please?
Yes. P21VA00026, Richards, West Los Alamos. Jessica Richards on property located at 2421 West Los Alamos in the CR3 single residence zone requests a variance to reduce the front yard setback to 2 feet for a proposed carport. Section 1825-30D1 of the Pima County Zoning Code requires a minimum 20-foot front yard setback. If it's all right, Mr. Chair, I can proceed with a staff report.
Yes, if you would, please.
All right. The subject property is located west of the T intersection of West Los Alamos and North Mona Lisa Road. Its surrounding zoning and land uses are CR3 and developed single residences. As of the writing of the staff report on January 31st, 2022, their staff has received no comments, and I have not received any comments as of today. There was a previous MSR requested back earlier this year for a side yard setback reduction for a separate carport, which was approved in January of 2022. So this is for the carport, just to reduce the front yard setback to 2 feet. transportation. Generally, they recommend denial of this variance request, but if the board wishes to approve it, they would like a condition to be added that the carport to remain open on each side at all times, and it shall not become a living space. And then floodplain flood control district had no objection to this variance request. And then regarding the background of the property, it's 8,250 square feet. It's in the Casas Adobe Park Lot subdivision. The current single-family residence is 1,392 square feet, built in 1980 with an attached carport. As I mentioned, there is a 147 square foot carport addition, which was approved in January 2022 by an MSR. And then this new carport is going to be 630 square feet, and it's going to be positioned north of the home. And per the applicant, the owner would like to build a carport to shade their vehicles and for their safety. This request cannot be approved by an MSR because it is closer than 20 feet from the front property line. Staff's recommendation is denial for this variance request because the applicant has not provided any information which meets any of the standards that the Board of Adjustment considers when granting variances, and there's an existing carport in addition to a carport that was previously approved, and it seems that the setback reduction is based on the owner's needs and not the property's physical condition or characteristics of the land. So if the Board of Adjustment is inclined to approve the request, staff recommends to include the condition that the carport shall remain open on each side and shall not become a living space. And that concludes the staff report.
Thank you. Do the board members have any questions for staff on this case?
This is Bruce Call. Are there any other structures, carports, or similar types of construction along this street or in this area that are similar to what is being requested here?
There is a carport northwest of the site, but it didn't go through a variance request, and I'm not sure exactly when it was installed. But it is not, yeah. It's
non-compliant?
It might be from an old building permit, but they didn't go through any special type of request that I've seen.
Okay. Does it come out that close to the street?
Yes.
Okay.
Any other
Richard
questions?
Green?
Yes, Mr. Green, go ahead.
Thank you. I noticed that their immediate next door neighbor has a wall that comes right up to the sidewalk. Does that require a similar variance, or because it has no roof, they have more latitude?
From what I recall, this is Bruce Call. From what I recall, as long as the wall height is less than 6 feet, it can come. It doesn't require a permit and can come anywhere along the property line.
Thanks.
Are there any other questions of staff at this point in time? Looking at the staff recommending to denial of this, I would have this is a very unique neighborhood, that's for sure. Different types of houses and different types of setbacks that they've had from day one of putting up this development. But I would entertain a motion to either approve or deny this variance.
Mr. Chair, Tom Drzgowski here. We definitely want to give the applicant an opportunity and any neighbors who are on the call.
Oh, yeah. Yes, I'm sorry. I kind of jumped ahead there. But is the applicant on the phone call?
Yes.
Yes, I am. Sorry, Russ.
I'm Russ Moser. I'm with Pima Quality Construction. I'm working for the owner, Jess Richards. But what I'd like to add in is that the existing carport that we had the MSR for was really small. So the MSR was approved to enlarge that carport. That was barely 8 feet to begin with, I believe. And the front arc carport, the new one, will remain open. It will never be living space, and it's actually going to be 2 feet off the property line. That's where the block wall will go. It's just going to be block pillars with a retaining wall. So it's going to be a retaining wall in between the pillars. So it's not going to be an eyesore. And as one gentleman had mentioned, there are walls on either side of Ms. Richards' property that go right up to it, to the property line. So, and that's it. Jessica, do you have something?
Yeah, I know in the attachments I did provide a PowerPoint here and just didn't know what else was needed. But I also just wanted to mention kind of a unique situation. I do work with a contracted agency with the Division of Developmental Disabilities, providing respite care for developmentally disabled adults and later teens. But also, like, when I want to have my grandparents come over, which, unfortunately, a lot of the people that I support, they are on medications and in wheelchairs. So to help with the ease of transportation, I'd like to have a space that can help protect them from heat exposure as well as sun exposure, just because the medications have that sun sensitivity. But just having it a little bit easier, as I do have a slope on my property to help with the flooding, to help drain it to the street. But this way it would be able to help assist with transporting people to and from inside of my home to back into the car, because sometimes I use a company vehicle to pick up people in wheelchairs. But yeah, it's just to help get my door 36 feet wide so I can get the wheelchair in and out of the home safely, where the one under the carport is not able to be widened. And if my car's parked in there, just a lot of moving around of the vehicles to help get everybody in and out of the house safely and hopefully without slipping and falling, because there isn't the protection from the elements if the water and it happened to freeze. I know it's not like that in the summertime, but just to help provide better protection from the elements here in Arizona.
Are there any questions by the board for the applicant?
This is Bruce Call. Yes. Is it the intent that there be vehicles in this carport essentially all the time?
All the time? No, it would not be all the time.
I mean, is it just for the occasional visitor, or is it for something that is going to happen a lot of the time?
Well, currently I do support people about 3 days a week, so there will be cars for, a couple hours at a time is when I'm providing them, and some occasional overnight. But other than that, it's not permanent. They're not there all of the time, no.
So if they're only going to be there for a few hours, and I assume they're not staying in the car, they're getting out and going into the house, I don't understand why this would necessarily be an important item that affects health, safety, or anything else.
Well, in this case, I'm able to pull the car safely and keep it better protected from underneath the sun. So, one, it's not being scalding hot when re-entering it. Yes, I can start the vehicle and start cooling it down before getting people in there, but it's also providing a surface that's helping wheelchairs to not roll away on their own. Yes, there are locks, but just for those in case they want to get up, it's providing a safe area and keeping those vehicles there. And, I mean, I have my own personal needs as well under there, but this is more for the safety of the people that I care for and being paid to make sure that they're completely safe.
So the hard surface is possible to have regardless. You don't need to have a variance or permit for doing a hard surface that wheelchairs would be able to get around on. That's not necessary. And since the the covering is only for a few hours of convenience, I'm disinclined to think positively about this request. That's all I have.
This is Russ.
Mr. Green, you have a question there?
That was not me.
Okay.
No, it was me, with Russ with Pima Quality again. I'd like to point out the gentleman who just spoke. Right now, she has an existing overhang there that pitches to the front of the house. That's basically 2.5 to 3 feet long. So in the event of a rainstorm, when you're getting somebody in and out of the house, that water is going to be falling onto the person. Short of guttering the whole thing, this will help with that as well.
So guttering, though, is an option that would solve it. Is that correct?
Well, it is an option, yes. I mean, guttering would stop the water in front of the door there.
Okay.
But in further rainfall, it doesn't protect all the elements from sideways rain that we get, and so the gutter doesn't protect it in that sense.
I agree.
Are there any other questions by the board of the applicant? Being none, is there anybody in the audience to speak against this variance? Apparently nobody is. All right, thank you very much, Jessica, and your contractor. I'd like to open the discussion about this with the board members.
I move to close the public hearing.
No discussion?
Well, we can have discussion, but close the public hearing so that the discussion of the board is not subject to...
Yes, okay, very good. Let's close the public hearing then at this time. Now we can do the... Okay.
We'll have a discussion after closing the public hearing.
It's been moved to close the public hearing. Do I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. So all approve to close the public hearing?
Aye.
Chris.
Aye.
Aye. Aye. All right, board, let's discuss this. Any comments that you have would be appreciated.
Mr. Chair, I am inclined to deny. I understand the request and the wishes, but at the same time, I think approval of variances like this would have to be approved for any neighbor in the area that made the same request, and ultimately that would lead to no standard.
That's correct. I would tend to agree with you, and I'm disappointed that some house to the northwest might have a similar structure put up. That I don't know why or how that happened, but I would ask that staff possibly look into that. The approval that was mentioned by Lauren was actually done in what year, Lauren? You said 2022.
Yeah, for the MSR.
Okay, for the MSR?
Correct.
Now that's just the small one for the MSR being major streets and routes. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, for the side. No, the MSR is to enlarge the existing carport to the west of the property. So they asked for a setback reduction.
Yep.
Got it. And so I think you've heard my comments already, but part of the reason why I feel disinclined to support this is also it appears that this is intermittent use, and I think that's what's intended to have parking space in front of a home, maybe in front of an existing garage or carport specifically to allow for visitors to come and go and thereby maintain some degree of setback and front yard and landscaping, those kinds of features that help make a neighborhood nice. And so, given the conditions here, I'm disinclined to approve.
I agree with Mr. Cole, but is it possible that they can put a slab in front of this door?
You bet. Yeah, they could put in concrete slab. They could put in, have it be scored and colored, and so that it's really a nice looking. They could do it out of pavers. There's a whole variety of things they could do to make it very convenient, nice looking, and accessible for wheelchairs. It's just the covered structure that they're requesting the variance for. The other elements are allowed without a variance.
So in other words, there are alternatives for this. And is there any other comment by any of the other board members? Mr. Green, Vicki, you've made your comment. Mr. Cole has.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. If there is really, I don't see a hardship that we're addressing. If there's really a concern about clients needing shade for appointments, the carport could be made available to them, just for example. So I agree that the front improvements could be made with a wall with drainage with paving and not violate the sense of the neighborhood zoning by granting this extension. So I'm in agreement with the general sentiment here.
Okay. Well, at this point in time, can I have a motion to either approve or deny this case?
This is Bruce.
Request.
Mr. Cole, go ahead.
Since she's moved to deny, I second that motion.
Okay. It's been moved and approved, apparently. This telephone operation aspect is a little bit,
No, move to deny.
All right. Ms. Ballantyne, would you repeat your move or your motion?
Motion.
Certainly. Sorry. I move to deny this request.
And this is on P21
VA 0026, Richards, West Los Alamos.
Okay. It's been moved. And now I need a
seconded.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to deny. May I have a roll call or a roll call vote on this, please?
Yes. Mr. Green?
I agree it should be denied. Approve the motion.
Right. Ms. Ballantyne?
Approve the motion.
Mr. Call?
Approve the motion to deny.
Chair Wildwood?
Approve the motion to deny.
The motion to deny was approved and has passed 4-0.
May I have the next case, please?
P22 VA 00002, Oracle Plaza LLC, North Oracle Road. Oracle Plaza LLC on property located at 6300 North Oracle Road in the CB1 local business zone requests a variance to increase the allowed sign area to 146 square feet from 113 square feet for an existing freestanding sign. Section 1879-80D3B3 of the Pima County Zoning Code restricts the maximum area of freestanding signs. If it's all right with you, Mr. Chair, I can proceed with a staff report.
If you would, please.
All right. The subject site is located south of North Oracle Road and Orange Grove Road. It is located in the Oracle Road Shopping Center. It's surrounded by different uses such as CB1, CR5, and CB2, which are businesses and restaurants, apartments, a post office, and life storage as well. As of today, staff has not received any comments. There haven't been any previous cases on the property. Transportation and Flood Control will review the permit at the time of permitting. And then for background, the subject site is 7 acres. It's on Oracle Plaza Blocks 1 and 2 of subdivision. It's part of an approved development plan, the Oracle Road Shopping Center, which was approved in 1979. Per the applicant, the freestanding sign was constructed in 1981. The sign is legal and non-conforming in regards to area and height. Per section 1879 ADD3 of the Pima County Zoning Code, the maximum area of a freestanding sign along a street frontage greater than 549 feet is 90 square feet. The applicant is proposing to add a 33 square foot sign panel below the existing panels for Dollar Tree, which is a tenant on the property. And staff recommends approval for this variance request because the additional panel provides increased visibility of services. Since the panel is just in addition to the existing sign, it's the minimum necessary to afford relief, and it does not seem to cause injury or adversely affect the rights of surrounding property owners and residents because there's been a lack of public comment, and that concludes the staff report.
Very good. Is the applicant on the phone that to speak for them?
Yes, I am. Yes, I am. This is Thomas Saylor Brown. I'm an architect. The sign, the existing sign, as Lauren said, is non-conforming. It's a very sign. Conforming sign in the sense it's a very big sign. It has 3 panels in it, naming the stores in the center, and there's plenty of room below to add an equal-size panel, which is what we're asking to do. It doesn't affect the size of the sign at all and won't affect the visibility along the street. And so we're respectfully requesting that you allow us to add this panel.
Is there anybody else in support or from the applicant to speak to this case? Is there anybody in the audience on the phone to speak against this case? That being said, I would move to close the public hearing.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded to close the public hearing. All in favor of closing?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Questions by the board?
Just a comment. It appears that because the total height and total width of the sign is not changing, because it is also legal non-conforming, and the addition of the panel looks to me as if it was potentially intended to have, more than the 3 panels back when the original sign was approved. I'm inclined to support this variance request, provided that the panel beneath is handled the same way as the 3 panels above, namely that the lighting, box conditions, and otherwise are similar so that it is not a distraction or major change from what the motif that's already been established. Other than that, I have no comments.
My only comment is that this existing sign looks like it had the ability to put an additional 2 panels on there, but an addition of 1 assuming it's similar in nature to the Bed Bath & Beyond and Natural Grocers one, I think it would be, I don't see any problem with this at all. That's my comment. Mr. Green?
Well, Chair Albert, I think the applicant should be grateful to the staff for actually articulating the case, which is absent from the application, namely that there is a major tenant who's not represented on that sign. And it actually is, it's implied from the application, but it actually, that's the hardship in this case. And so it was useful to know that which tenant that was, et cetera. I would agree. Are those interior lit cabinet signs? I couldn't really tell from the picture, but if they are, I don't see any objection to this either. But if there is lighting involved, I would like us to be able to stipulate that it's light letters on a dark background. And beyond that, would have no objection.
And Mr. Chair, Tom Drzgowski here. That can be added as a condition, and obviously that would probably be a good addition. Sometimes we have these signs out there where after the fact we have dark letters on a clear or white background, and that's obviously detrimental to the night sky. So we'd have no objection from staff's perspective.
Good suggestion.
Yes.
I agree with all the board comments.
Well, it's staff takes a lot of pride in doing their job the right way, and I think we can all appreciate that. And longer that you're on this board, you will see that. Mr. Call and I have been around for a little while, and Mr. Green has too. So I think that staff does a wonderful job in bringing stuff like that out. So I too appreciate exactly what they say. Can I have
I have a question for Tom. This is Bruce.
Hi, Bruce.
I really like the suggestion of Mr. Green of the light letters on a dark background. As I look and see the Bed Bath & Beyond panel above, it looks like that would be a dark letters on a light background. And as much as we're potentially providing some degree of relief, is it unreasonable for us to suggest that in a condition of this panel being added below, that the Bed Bath & Beyond sign, or that all of the signs, be light letters on a dark background?
Mr. Chair, board members, I don't think that that would be an issue adding it. It's probably appropriate to give the complex some time to make the necessary changes. And, one of the things I would say is adding the condition is appropriate, but I think it would be appropriate to give them, maybe 6 months or a year to even change out the other panel. I mean, we can note that if you give them a set time so that they don't have to go out there and change it, design it today. And one of the huge positives from staff's perspective on this one was that, they could have, instead of proposing this variance, they could have knocked down this sign and then put a sign at each access point with more square footage, and it actually would have been more detrimental, I think, in regards to probably aesthetics and lighting aspects of it. So I think that's another reason why we support it, and I think giving them the appropriate amount of time to make any changes is all we would suggest.
Okay, great suggestion, Tom.
Well, Mr. Green, since you have kind of made that aspect, would you like to make an approval or denial on this request?
Sure. So I move that we approve the request for the variance to add an additional panel to the existing sign with the condition that the new panel have light lettering on a dark background. And then I would leave it to Mr. Call to make a friendly amendment, which I would accept if he wants a change to the existing sign. So you're moving to approve P
22VA00002 Oracle Plaza, LLC, North Oracle Road. Is that correct?
That is correct. Yes. Thank you.
Mr. Call, would you like to add your addendum to his?
I would propose to amend the motion on the floor to include the requirement that all panels on the sign have light letters on dark background, and that the timing for implementation would not exceed 6 months.
And I'm more than happy to accept that as a friendly amendment to my motion.
All right. Lauren, would you read what basically has been said, please?
Mr. Chair, before Lauren says that, can I just confirm? So, Mr. Call, you're seconding the motion, correct?
That's right, seconding and amending. Well, actually, by virtue of amendment, it probably still requires another second.
Well, no. You're making the amendment, so at that point, you've seconded it. You're proposing an amendment, and Mr. Green is okay as the maker of the motion accepting that. So I just want to make sure we have all our kind of items in a row here. So my comment. Thank you.
All right, Lauren, just for the record, let's see what you're going to officially put in on this motion before we vote on it.
Okay, so the motion to approve P22VA00002 Oracle Plaza LLC North Oracle Road with the conditions that all panels on the sign need to have light letters on a dark background and that they have 6 months for implementation of the existing panels.
Of the existing panel. Okay. It's been moved and approved, moved and seconded. May I have a vote on the motion that was made?
Mr. Green.
Approve.
Ms. Valentine. Ms. Valentine?
She might have cut off.
I'm sorry, I was on mute. Approve.
Okay. Mr. Call?
Approve.
And Chair Wildblood?
Approve.
All right. The motion to approve the case has passed 4-0.
Being no more cases, is there any discussion by the board? And when is our next meeting going to be?
Our next meeting is March 7th, and the only thing we have is that continued hearing on North Tortolita Estate.
Okay. Tom, do you have any discussion that you would like to talk about briefly about these continuances on this case?
Mr. Chair, not at this time. I think what we'll probably want to do is we'll probably need to either reach out to the applicant and get an update from them. Obviously, our staff report from 3 months ago or 2 months ago is probably outdated for some of the items. So we'll have to see what the applicant has come up with. We'll probably reach out to them here. Or at least let them know that, we're going to need some revised information from them about what the scope of the continuance has been for. We'll probably write a memo then with either revised recommendation or providing an update, and you'll get that before the hearing on March 7th.
Very good. I always refer to an old comment that Mr. Call made a long time ago, which was good fences make good neighbors. But that's kind of what I look at on this one. Is there any other discussion by board members at this point in time?
I move to adjourn.
I second that. all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, board members, for your help.
Thank you.
Have a great month, everyone.
Thank you, and thanks to staff.
Thank you.
Next month.
Bye.